here. So he said he was green. He was in 393, right? Out at 430. He was green. That's good for him, right? But it's not, again, I want to take credit for it. It's not my alert because that is a rate alert, right? I didn't make any profits over there. I took a loss on it. But you see, this is the thing I want you guys to understand. All right, losses is gonna happen, and I want you, and I don't ever want to hide that. All right, I want you guys to accept it, okay, and just focus on execution. Because if, let's say, for example, I take it that it's a win, right? I say that, oh my god, AMD, boom, I'll say 450 new high today, right? When this 420 never actually break out, I'll just say that, like, for the AIMD, for example, if I were to say like, oh, this thing's just hit 450, but that's not true. If I were to be consistent with my alerts, right, on how a 420 breakout should be, then your entry should be on this candle over here, right? This is the breakout candle. Your entry is on the next candle. I can't tell you guys that this thing hit 450, right? Then the next few alerts, right? I only just take, or rather, I can spin the narrative and be like, oh, hey, this breakout worked out. Oh, this breakout never actually broke out yet, so we don't take entries, right? Then that's not fair for you guys, and it's very difficult for you guys to follow my alerts. So to stay consistent at it, AIMD for me did not work out. I took a loss over here, right? So I took my entries over here at 420s, bought the dips. I did sell some of this pop over here just to, de-risk a little bit. But when we had a hot sell off over here, right, I closed the rest at 380s and I was done. I took a loss on this. Right, it wasn't a green trade. But for Jai Balaya and Big Long Cat that executed this at 393, that wasn't my alert, right? They did it themselves. They executed it very nicely. They make money on it. That's good. Okay, but I want you guys to understand my alert when I say 420 breakout, I'm waiting for it to break 420. I'm not in before that or whatever. I'm waiting for this to break 420 before I take my entries on the next candle, and then I follow the plan. That's it. Okay, so this play did not work out for me. All right, and I want you guys to accept that and understand that, right? This is gonna be consistent throughout the entire alerts. Okay, this is gonna be how it is. If I keep changing out how you guys read the alerts or interpret the alerts, then you guys will never ever understand how to fully understand follow me. All right. So now the next thing over here is, so this person over here. Okay, I'm not calling out anyone. I'm just trying to learn. I'm just trying to forever beginner mistakes and stuff, right? You guys can learn from it. So this person took a loss on AIMD because of that sell off over here, right? As it is, I'm pretty sure if you followed the plan, you would have been great over here as well, like me. So he think he got burnt on the big red candle AIMD and not wanting a loss if wrong. So that itself is already a wrong mindset, right? If you cannot take losses in trading, then you should not trade. When you take a trade on something, okay, two things is gonna happen. Either you make money or you lose money. If something doesn't work out, you cut it, you move on to something else. Okay, you don't want another loss if it's wrong. But then what if it's right? You may make your money back, right? But if let's say the second one is wrong again, then sure, just take the loss. That is part of trading. You cannot avoid losses. If you don't want to take action because you're afraid of wanting another loss, you will never take a trade. And when you never take a trade, sure, you don't take losses, but you will never make profits as well. And if that's the case, what are you doing here? Why are you wasting your time, trading, being in the market? You understand? Right? Now that's the first thing. Second thing is, he said that he got burnt by the big red candle. That is also, first off, not supposed to happen. Right? Why would you get burnt when the plan itself is to stop under 380? It's known. I did not tell you guys to stop out at $4 and then it knifed down to 380, right? You should not be burnt. This is part of the plan. You should be stopped out. So why would you be burnt when you know that the stop loss is under 380? So that means they only can mean two things. Number one, you went all in. Number two, you did not size in based on what the stop loss is, isn't it? Because if you know that the stop loss is going to be under 380, right? So let's say, for example, let's just say we don't play around dips. Okay, we don't play around dips, right? And you take your entries at 420, okay, right? And then you know the stop loss is under 380. That's roughly around a 40 cents per share loss, right? It's going to be around a 40 cents per share loss over here for this trade. So if you know that if this thing drops 40 cents, right, this thing is going to drop 40 cents before you close out your position. And if you know that when you buy 1,000 shares over here, you know that you're going to be losing $400. And if you feel like this $400 is too big for you, then why are you going in 1,000 shares when you yourself know what the stop loss plan is? You understand? Why would you still voluntarily go in 400 shares? I mean 1,000 shares, knowing that if the trade doesn't work out, you will lose $400. Why would you do that to yourself when you know it voluntarily? You know it. Okay, this is even me saying that if you don't play dips, if you just go in full size at 420, fine. All right. But if you know that if this trade don't work out, you're gonna be losing 40 cents a share, right? And you don't want to blow up your and since you know that this is the plan over here, this is the loss that's gonna happen, why would you voluntarily blow up your account? If I know that this trade is gonna lose me 40 cents a share, right? And I don't want to blow up my account, maybe my account size is small. What if I just go in 100 shares instead? I could do that. I'm not gonna blow up my account. I'm in control of my losses. You know, I'm sizing in based on how much I'm willing to lose so that this way I would never ever blow up my account. You telling me losing $40 over here will blow up your account, right? Honestly, if losing $40 will blow up your account, if it's a practice account, it's fine. But if it's a real trading account, then your focus right now should be building your capital instead of trading. Okay, this is over here, right? I would say it's one of the beginner mistakes, right? When you guys size in, you guys don't really think about what happens when it doesn't work out, which is why you guys size in heavy. Because most of you guys over here, or if not all of us over here, want to make money. And if we have more shares, we make more money. That's correct. But if we have more shares, if the trade doesn't work out, which can happen, it's either gonna work out or it doesn't work out, right? Then if you have a lot of shares, you're gonna lose money. You see that? So to avoid all this kind of stuff from happening, to avoid being burnt, to avoid getting blown up, you size in based on how much you're willing to lose. So this way your loss is controlled. You're in control of your losses. And how do you make money over here? How do you make more money over here? Is by the stock going up, right? The responsibility of making the money right now is not on you, it's on the stock. You should not be carrying too much responsibility on yourself anyway, right? It's not like you can control the price of the stock, isn't it? Right? You cannot control the price of the stock, right? So why should you be responsible if it drops? Why should you be responsible if it goes up? You shouldn't be. But you should be responsible, right, on how much you are going to lose, because that is your trade, that's your money. All right. So that's the beginner mistakes right there. Okay, now the next thing is going to be this RMSG over here, right? This RMSG over here. Now for those of you guys who have been with me for a really long time, okay, now I got an RMSG over here at 3.1 because I saw volume coming in. This is right at this very exact candle, I think. Let me see. Yeah, 10:02, right? I took it 3.1s over here right at this candle. So it was very, very quick, right? It was very quick on the same candle itself. Whenever I send the alert out, I always make sure to see what the price is before I deem it okay for you guys to add it, or I deem it okay for the trade to continue playing out. Now, for those of you guys who do not understand what I'm trying to say, right? Take for example the IPDN trade in the morning. When I alerted IPDN at 250, right, which is right here, by the time I sent the alert out and I look at the chart, the price was at 270. Because of that, I immediately just deleted my alert because I told you guys don't chase it. This is way too quick. I immediately deleted my alert, and you see it's not here, right? Because I don't want you guys to go and chase it because it's not viable anymore. It's way too fast. But this one, after I sent the alert out, this was sitting at 320. So I remember very clearly. I was not in at 3.10 for those of you guys who wonder. I was sitting at 3.17, 3.16. But again, I'm not too particular about this because, you know, this thing just had a very low volume move from 186 to 290 something, right? 10, 20 cents should not make a whole lot of difference. Okay, 20 cents, yes, but 10 cents plus should not make a whole lot of difference, right? So some of you guys over here got in at 3.3s. I think that is a little high, but 3.24, 3.25, 3.26 it's great. It's all right. And look, it's not even only that, right? I told you guys, right, that this over here, okay, I was in, right? I told you guys that I was still in this. I did not scale anything because it popped up way too quick. And also I do not ever I mean I could have scaled, but it was popping up way too quick as I was updating the alert for you guys. And I said that wait, let me see 1 second. Yeah, I said that I'm still in, right? No, this is what I was typing, right? I told you guys it was halted out. I told you guys I haven't scaled anything, will trim out on open. And I was hoping for it to be a strong halt. Okay, but on open, this thing went open up at 320s. Why the fuck would I take my profits over there? If that's the case, then I would still stick to my original plan of having my stop loss in the 280. And it even went down to 3.1s for you guys to add. Look at the candle. The candle's not gonna lie, by the way. Right? I'm not trying to, lie to you guys, but look at the candle. It went down to 3.1s. And that's where you guys could have taken it, because it's not like we actually even hit any sort of profits over here. And then if let's say you guys follow the plan again, we hit 388. I told you guys 375 is going to be our daily expansion, right? Okay. And we hit 375, but did we clear over that? We never did. We didn't. Right? So that's where you start to know. You take your profits over here, right? And then you take more, like I said, I took most of it out as well, 60 to 70%. And I was trading more as well as we went up, right? Over here, 20% and stuff. And from there, my philosophy is always very simple. When you're green on a trade and you see it start breaking down, and I even told you guys, right, raise your stop loss to under $3. Honestly, at this point of time, I could raise my stop loss to under 319, 320, because that's my VWAP. But it drops down so hard, I don't even need to wait for this to close to confirm. I can just close it off because I don't want to turn a green trade red. You understand? Right? So yeah, I mean, that's even if you guys let's say you missed this over here. I mean, look, this sticker halted at 356. When it opened up, it was at 320s. I remember this thing was at 340s and dropped to 320s immediately. By the way, it was at 340s. For those guys who was watching this, I know you know what I'm talking about. It was open at 340s and it just went down to 320s, 310s immediately after that. That's where you guys could have taken your entries again. Now, if you guys were if you guys were looking at this over here, right? If you guys were looking at this over here, okay, that was really more than enough time for you to execute this trade, right? Even on this, it was fast, right? But that's the whole reason I keep telling you guys, right? Trade on Active Trader, trade on Turbo Trader. If you guys have been trying to catch this on your phone, then in the first place, you should not even be following this trade at all. You should not even be following any of the alerts inside this channel. I've been mentioning this to you guys before. This is a momentum trade, day trade channel. If you guys go through the onboarding section, right, under momentum day trading, right, best to do on PC instead of your phone. And there's the whole reason for it, because the volatility is going to stop you out before you can even start to execute your trades. And I showed you guys an example as on how you guys can do that, right? It's all inside this Google Drive over here. Okay, I show you guys an example of how you guys can do it. Watch the video and you guys will understand what do I mean by not trading on your phone and why you should trade on your PC with the right tools when I'm talking about Turbo Trader, Active Trader, or IBKR Trader Workstation. Okay. All right. So now we talk about SGPX, right? Why was I so into SGPX today? And we traded this multiple times and stuff. No, I'll keep it very simple for you all. Now, first off, SGPX, right? Former runner, low float. No news on this, but I mean, if you look at the volume on this, 811 million shares being traded, not even lunchtime right now. We're about to hit the $1 billion mark, or sorry, 1 billion volume mark. Is that a lot of volume? It's very, you don't often see this, right? And if you look at this on a daily chart, we do have a gap that needs to be filled, right? Which has really been filled, by the way, but over 35 cents. Okay, over this bottom to gap, you see that right here. Okay, it has room to 52 cents. So if you look at this on market open, can you guys see that price went down inside the bottom of the gap over here, bounced up, nearly hit the top, went back down, then hit the bottom, but we have a bullish engulfing candle over here that, sorry, 1 second, over here, SGPX. Again, right, SGPX, right, on this, we have a gap on the daily, as you guys can see, right here. 1 second, that's a little laggy. Okay, we have a gap on the daily, as you guys can see, right? You see that? We have a gap, right? Between these two candles, there's zero price action over here, right? We have a gap. So on this note, right, okay, price went down to the bottom of this gap, bounced off, right? And then we hit the top, near the top. Price went down again. Now, did we break down? Did we break down? We never did. We never broke down. I stopped out over here to keep this trade re-entry over here green. But do I take my eyes away from this? No, right? Because just because it broke down from the structure over here to keep my trade green does not mean that this is done. Now, what I want to see is whether it can bounce off this point over here, which it did. So that's why I look for re-entries again. That's why I asked you guys, right? Do you guys want another trade? Do you guys want another trade at 1014? Okay. And at 1014, right? This was over here. And I heard many of, and you see, even at 1015, this thing went to 0.41, 0.40. So you don't tell me that this is way too slow, this is way too quick, right? You cannot add it in time. That was more than enough time for you guys to add before this move actually happened, right? So now, does it mean that it's gonna bounce off this over here later? Right now, probably not, because we have already broken up from the structure, right? So it could still bounce off 36 cents and stuff, but the fact that it broke up from structure already, right, means that the intraday structure wise, this might not serve as a good support anymore. But it's still a good level to use to see whether you can base your trading plan on it later, right? But you do not want to buy into weakness. Look at how I executed this, right? I did not buy just because this ticker went all the way down here. I waited for it to recover. I waited for it to reclaim VWAP. I waited for it to consolidate over here on the previous consolidation zone before I took my entries. Correct? Just because it's going down, just because it's hitting support does not mean you can add it. You want to wait for confirmation. Okay, so it's very simple, right? Very simple execution over here. We filled the gap. I'm very happy about it. Okay, we're approaching lunchtime. I think most of the tickers are pretty much dead right now as well. And this has been this has been the the trend, right? This has been the trend for the market the past few weeks and stuff. And do we follow the trend? Of course we do, because we cannot control the market. We have to adapt to the market trend. That's just how it is, right? That is just how it is. Right? That's just how it is. Okay, so honestly, nothing complicated. I keep telling you guys, right? Do not overcomplicate trading. All right. All I show you guys on how I execute my trades are just very simple usage of lines and daily levels, and that's it. Nothing complicated. I've met a trader before. When I was new, right? I was jumping between Discord servers. I saw this analyst or this trader that was using Fibonacci fans, Fibonacci arcs. Her whole chart looked like a fucking solar system. I couldn't understand what the fuck was going on. Right? It was way too complicated for me. Maybe it works for her, but it was way too complicated for me. So I had to make it simple for me. All right. So I'm just gonna set my stop loss at 40 cents for my runners, and then I'll let this do its own thing. Let's cook. All right. Either it stops me out, which is gonna be completely fine, or we'll see what happens. All right. Because 821 million shares. I mean, this is not something to ignore, right? It's crazy. Okay. All right. So that's that. I'm gonna answer a few questions, and then I'm gonna bounce. Pause. All right. I'm gonna start doing a question right now. Let's see. Second. What do you consider small float size under 10 million? Um, so the reason why I did not take the AIMD 335 breakout was because I was way too focused on SNGX. So I missed out on the 335 breakout for AIMD, right? So I didn't take it, right? So that's really the only reason why. Correct. You should only start funding dips after the break of 420. No, I mean it's if you're green on AMD and you re-enter it on the second trade. I mean, as I explained to you guys just now, right? You know the plan, and especially so if you're green on AMD, you know the plan, you know how much you're gonna risk. You should be more in control of your losses. You should be more in control of your losses. Yeah, 3.28 for RMSG after alert was hoping for a dip small size. It still worked out. Yeah, that's good. to 3.2. That's great. What's the name for the rectangle indicator for? No, it's just a rectangle. That's it. It's just a rectangle, right? I just drew a rectangle. That's it. There's no indicator for it. This one, I just drew a rectangle. That's all. It's like that. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just a rectangle. That's all. Will you explain the structure that broke? What do you mean? I thought I explained it. What do you mean by would you explain the structure that broke? Is there anything else to milk for SGBX? I mean, we'll see. We're approaching lunchtime right now, and again, for the past few weeks, post-lunch setups have been just dying. We haven't really been seeing any sort of power hour after hours move, right? So I don't expect today to be different. I mean, of course, I hope it's different, but maybe 20% chance is different. 80% chance it's just gonna die off as well. So, just fuck it. STBX. I'm not in STBX. No, there's no news on SGBX today. It was just volume. That's it. What was today's theme? There was no clear theme today, to be honest. It was I was just trading where the volume is at. There was no clear theme today. All right, there was no clear theme today. Or for the week, for that matter. What kind of sizing do you use on trades like this, like SGBX? I mean it's the same, right? If it's 2 cents risk, then I make sure to just size it accordingly on how much I'm willing to lose. The lower the risk, the more you can buy, the more shares you can buy. But of course, when it doesn't work out, you still cap in the loss bracket that you want. SGPX structure breaks down when it loses this gap. When it will lose this gap, right? This daily gap over here. That's it. The structure will break down when it loses this daily gap over here. That's all. Yeah, but we never did. So, but of course, since I took my entries to 42 cents over here, we hit 51 cents, right? This is the second alert, I think, or third alert, I can't remember. I took my profits over here, and when it drops like that, I have to what's that? I have to keep my trade green, so I close it off. Right? But you see, for this one, we have the luxury to sit through it because we never really threatened our entries and stuff, right? We just held on to 42 base and then we went up. So it's completely fine. But this is not because, see, if I were to hold on to my position over here and it drops all the way down here, there's no guarantee it might bounce off from this. It might just slice all the way down. And then this is where I'm going to start giving back a lot more profits than I want to, which I don't want to happen. You look at the difference between this entry over here at 42, is the first entry I gave you guys, right? Let me just okay, 1 second over here. Yeah, here, this one. Right? 42s, right? So you see, this is the first entry I gave you guys for 42s. We went all the way up to 50 cents. And then, no, that's good. No, that's great. But the thing is, it's not smooth. I took my profits over here, but should I hold it down to 36 cents? Because what if it dives this and go down? You know what I mean? So this trade, I keep it green, I close it off. But structure is not done yet. So that's why I still keep it on watch to see if it's worth another trade entry, which is why after that, what did I say? One more time, right? Then one more time. And then I gave you guys 41s down to 39s. We hit 40s. Stop loss on 36. Because the structure is still looking like it's going to reverse. After that RMSG halted down, right? We can see potential volume rotation into this because structure never broke down. So that's why you can look for a re-entry setup again. But this time we don't have to stop off on our remaining shares. Why? Because it's smooth. It's not like it's doing this. So we can just enjoy the ride up. You see what I mean? I cannot assume that it's going to bounce off this just because this is a support, right? Support is not forever. It can break down too. How do you see the market? August is usually known to be the lowest trading month of the year. I mean, I don't know, man, but like August have been great so far. I don't know about you guys, but August has been fucking amazing so far, no? We've had like non-stop wins, right? But yeah, but I would just say that small cap itself is it's small cap itself is irrelevant to what the market wants, right? If it wants to go, it will go. If it wants to slow down, it will slow down. You can't really have any sort of control over it. Do you have multiple screens with each trade you take? They're all going at the same time. Uh, Not really. I mean, if I take an after-hour trade, I'll mostly only have one of it, and that's it. I usually won't have like 3 to 4 active trades at the same time. For the other tickers, let's say I have runners and stuff. I mean, it's runners. I don't really have to like actively look at them, so it's fine by me. All right. Okay, so how would I've traded AIMD in the morning if let's say I was looking at this, as I would have taken this 335 breakout here, right? And because this is such a strong breakout, I'll have my stop loss underneath 335. That's all. That's how I play it. If it's a weak breakout, I have my stop loss under 315. If not, I have my stop loss under 335 because this is a pretty strong breakout, right? So our entries will be on 350s, right? So I'll just have my stop loss under 335. But if it's a weak breakout, my entries are 330s and stuff, right? Then I'll have my stops under 315. This 335 is a key level. It's pretty big, right? On the daily chart, you can see a lot of price action separation over here. See that? Right? One, two, three, four, five, six. So when this 335 broke, right? It just went up. Okay. All right. If not, that's it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Because you don't want to get caught up in fluctuations, consolidation and volatility. It was 5-5 on my today on my alerts. God damn. You lucky you didn't take AMD, huh? But yo, congrats. All right, if not, I'll see you guys around. Today's another great day. Now that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, could have ran. I take whatever I alert, right? It's nothing to hide about this, so it is what it is. All right. So when multiple stocks are running, like SGPX and AIMD, which one should you pick? Now, the correct answer for this is you don't do anything, right? If you want to play it safe, you don't do anything and wait till one breaks down and you can focus on the other one. That's the correct answer. That's the safest way to approach it. If you want to take some risks, then just since both of them are running, just add one and then see what happens. Right? Obviously, having the theme, understanding the theme of the market, right, helps a lot because I think SGPX and AMD were both running together at the same time in the morning, right? At least for the first two candles. No? Let me see. Yeah, it was. It was. The first candle for AI, SGPX was going up, right? But then you can see this thing start going down, right? And then over here, maybe you can just take AMD because SGPX is going down. There's a high chance that AMD might go up, and there you go. But if they're both running together at the same time, then it's going to be very difficult for you to make a decision because eventually one of them will break down and the other one will take over. But you wouldn't know which one's going to be until you actually see it. So if you feel like you're ever in a position where you don't know what decision to make, don't trade. Because why would you put yourself in an unknown and unfamiliar environment? Or you could take both, yeah, or you could take both. No, I don't trade mid to large caps. I only trade small caps. Mid to large caps isn't exciting for me. Small caps are more exciting. All right. Okay, if not, that's it. I'm gonna upload this and I'll see you guys around. Enjoy the rest of the day. Let's run it back again tomorrow. Unless of course SGPX hits 65 cents today. All right. See you guys around. Cheers. Bye. One more question. Yeah, what's up? 40 cents breakout. Yes. Would you use 40 cents? No, no, I would play around dips and use 36 cents as my stop loss. Because remember, I'm still trading it off my higher time frame setup, which is my gap, 36 cents. I mean, that's the whole reason why I said 36 cents is my stop loss. Remember? Right? So I would add over here and I would grab dips and have my stop loss on the 36 cents. And then we got the market open pop as mentioned. I know your trade plan for Vuzi. Take your profits. Okay? Take your profits and raise your stop loss to under 205 to keep it green. That's my trade plan for Vuzi. What's the last support for AIMD? I do not like AIMD, right? I do not like AIMD because I think the news is pretty bullshit. All right, it doesn't really warrant this move over here. I mean, volume itself is really just pushing this, right? But if volume dries out, then the price is gonna go down. So I don't really like AIMD. I don't think it's bad news, but the news for this isn't anything groundbreaking. It's a 2.1 million order over 3 years for a 9 million market cap. I mean, it's not, again, like I said, it's not bad news, but it's not something like, oh my God, it's just gonna fly type of news, you know? It's just not, it's just good news, that's it. Right? And so that's why I'm not really that interested in this. No, I still tried to trade it because the volume is there. Okay, but once it breaks down, I was done with it. Okay, if not, guys, I gotta go. I don't want to keep this recording for too long. I'll see you guys around. Cheers, bye.